Nice. Hold on 1 second. Alright, cool. Hello. So yeah, this is a short stream. I just got done restarting my computer and everything. I'm almost ready. But I forgot to say hi now. I'm back in the Dissy, lol. Don't be scared. Whenever you're hitting past over here, you dumb whore. Here you go. Say ah. Say ah. Actually. Also, your boy says he's a better rapper than you, Joey. Man, that stings. We should make a diss track. Oh, dude, wouldn't that be fucking funny? I need to hear a your boy diss track, and then I'll do it. Do it, bitch. That's fucking funny. Damn, he's trying to out-black you. Definitely out-rap me. But we'll see. We'll see. I'll need to make a beat. Dude, that'd be so fucking funny. I don't want to commit to that right now, but that does sound absolutely hilarious. Fun. I think your boy got you, Joey. Turn in your black card. I have to request it from the DMV. I need a copy. I get that. I think I at the same time I get my FAA license and the and my passport. Oh yeah. Dude, your boy and Shat fucking like rap beef. That's fun. That's funny. Ads, fuck. Oh, haha. I forgot where I was. Right, maybe I shouldn't have taken that hit. The barber Joey can't reach when hard.
Game on.
You're not a white man, Shattered. You just have no privilege. I mean, some might say that's it's an improvement in some ways. I can already feel my credit score going up. But my PP shrank, unfortunately, during that change. How you doing? Still ruins. Oh, wait, did I not see? Okay, underground ruins. Alright. Yeah, this is where I stopped it. So this is where I was. Who? You! How is you? This guy. Would it be 90? How you doing, man? Yeah, I'll keep these. I think I'll keep these. Oh, wait. Let me check my equipment and shit. Make sure we're all Gucci. Wing boot. What about you? Will you give it back or will you keep it? Alright, and you? Alright. Just busy ass day. But it'll be worth it. My load's really light right now. So tomorrow, which is my Friday this week, well, whatever, I'm off Friday, and I'm looking forward to Resident Evil. But I want to enjoy my little mini break. So no loose ends. You know what I mean? Nice. Yeah. Oh shit, I'm doing good. I'm fucking tired though. I'm tired as hell too. Like that's part of why this is a short stream. Like, I had to rush to like shower and eat. But I realized if I don't stream tonight, I'm not gonna stream this week. Because I can't stream tomorrow. Going to the movies. I was gonna drop those boots. He's the time bandit, he didn't make the cut. You ready for RE9 on Friday? Fuck yeah, I am. I was ready for it to fucking what up, Jay? For tomorrow. But unfortunately, I guess only the digital version is getting a 9 p.m. release. Everyone else is like, no. Pick it up in the morning. You son of a bitch. Now he's getting butt fucked. Are you guys writing this song right now? Get wrecked.
Here goes!
Yeah, maybe that hit was a mistake. I'm really feeling it.
Piece of cake.
Like Bill and Ted right now. Whoa. Oh, fuck this fucking navigate ass fucking. Get butt fucked without me, y'all some bitch ass hoes, cuh. Not the cuh. Just with the cuh. No, I might as well actually just use everything I have right now. Let me try to level this up with just a smidgen, but I'm right next to a save thing, so I can just
like a tornado.
regen anything before I get to the next floor. You're a cuh. No, cut me! I cut you! Oh, nice. I learned a spell from that. Yeah, actually, everybody should be using fucking magic right now. What up, Travi? My pussy hurting for a squirtin'. If you say cut, Jay, you gay now. On my way. Looking like Rolo from the Cleveland show. I never saw the Cleveland show. Which one's Rolo? Oh, alright, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Okay, I didn't know his name. I've seen him. That's pretty fucking funny. Fuck you, but that's funny. Go Jason Waterfalls? Nice. Wanna fuck on me? That escalated quick. Alright, let me actually kill these guys. I just don't care. Like all the magic and shit.
There's no use in hiding.
Like it's so grindy to get the good spells. I'm first in Joey's chat. Oh shit, how'd you pull that one off? You here the whole time, dude? What up, Paul? Listen to the rhythm and beats. Oh, that you're used to. Very nice. Right on cue.
Not bad, eh?
Hell yeah! Thank you for the redeem. Oh, I think you're moving to. Oh, sorry. I keep wanting to read it like normal ass chat, but you guys are just doing the lyrics. Alright, what was? Look, I'm already lost. Going the wrong way. Go to bed. No, don't go to bed. Hang out here. Just hold on for like an hour, maybe an hour and a half, then go to bed. Because that's all I have to stream tonight. That's it. That's all he's got. Fuck you. Just attack, I guess. Rita, you suck.
I'm retarded?
So good. Fuck! The more I look at this stuff, the more I think about like stuff I want to do for the stream. It's almost ready. I just have to find the right time. I'd say it's a school night, but I guess for you it's technically morning, right? No, I've been fixing my sleep schedule. Oh, you're talking about Travi? Give me half an hour to beat my shit. Thanks, Dad.
There's
There's no use in hiding.
Where the fuck is my Pikachu, nigga? I've been working. I'm sorry. Like, I actually keep forgetting. But I'm pretty busy. Let me actually write it down.
All right, we won.
So what is it? You want a twerking fucking Pikachu or something, right? Is that what it was? When Joey's streaming, all you need is 20 seconds. Oh, when Joey's streaming, all you need is 20 seconds. Working special needs Pikachu. Okay, okay. I'm gonna message. Or I'm gonna not message. Make a little. Where's my notepad? Thank you. Appreciate you. Working special needs Pikachu. Pretty loud. Is it loud for you guys too? Let's do Shockwave. Actually, no, Shockwave is maxed out. Let's do. Let's Crackle. One enemy. Ah, but I have to. God damn it. Want to see this monstrosity come to life. That Persona 4 Golden Redeem is popular tonight. Yeah, it is, huh?
Feel the power of ice.
Persona 4 Golden. One of these days, I want to stream Persona 4 Dancing All Night. The problem is that I guess there is like, some like it's very small. I need to do some more tests, but like there might be a little bit of latency between the HDMI capture and then the preview window. So I could probably adjust, but it won't be as fun. You know what I mean? Damn it, I keep forgetting Guido sucks. I just killed this guy. Yeah, just fucking use Crackle. I'm just trying to level up my shit while I'm here, you know? The busy work in this game. Like, I feel like, funny enough, Final Fantasy 2 did it better. With the whole, like, using stuff to make it more effective. Because in that one, I think from what I saw, what I remember, there's like subtle stat trade-offs the more you level certain stuff up, right? This one is just grind it, like materia.
Yes, queen!
Fucking
Yes,
asshole.
queen! Yes, queen! Yes, queen!
Ah, it happened already. Here, I'll just... Honestly, it wouldn't be so bad. Let me see if... I mean, not right now, but I'm gonna see if I can make like an Elgato thing to just refresh that cache. If I can set that up, we'll be fine. Because I do think it's funny. I just hate having to refresh it, but it's not so bad right now. It was awful during Helldivers. Because the game's too chaotic, man. I can't do IT work while killing shit. Danger, yeah. I like that emote. Honestly, nobody really uses that emote. I'm so fucking excited for RE9.
We won! We won!
Like, it feels like a holiday, you know? Like, I think I heard that in Japan they take off, like, almost everybody takes off, like, the new Dragon Quest release days. That's how I feel about Resident Evil. Oh shit, no, wait. Did I accidentally progress? Ah, I did, okay. Dude, I can't wait for you to see. Here, watch me play with no headphones. I'm so like, guess. And you won't have subtitles on either, huh? I'm off on Friday. I'm gonna stream Resident Evil 9. Nice, nice. I'm off on Friday, and I'm not gonna stream Resident Evil 9. I'm gonna live in Raccoon City for the next 2 days.
Use your guts! Guts!
Yeah. Ah, yeah. Crackle.
Take this.
To glance over and just check on it. What was I gonna say? Yeah, this one's only doing like no damage, but they will, you know? They
Feel
will.
the power of ice.
Honestly, I got that Persona 3 Reload. I really want to play it. I just haven't had time. And so many goddamn games, so little time. That's like, honestly, of my redeems, that's like in my top 5. I love the go fuck yourself one.
早上好，中国！现在我有冰淇淋，我很喜欢冰淇淋，但是速度与拯救，冰淇淋，速度与拯救，
Being chilling everything. How you doing?
Being chilling.
I like that one.
These liberals are trying to
Oh yeah, I really like this one.
can't change their mind. I won't change my mind.
Probably can't hear it.
Because I'm an American.
Yeah. I almost put to sleep. Being chilling.
You sure about that? You sure about that? That's why? You sure it wasn't because after the thing that happened, no one could look at me without...
I was supposed to go back because I wanted to go back to that save point, but I'm like kind of lost now.
That's not why?
Sure about that?
No. Wait.
How's Guido been for the team?
He's alright. I kind of wish he had like some magic or like more useful spells.
Take that.
I really love that Raka video, the full bit. That the Ronald character is
Oh,
the
wind,
shit.
twist like a tornado.
Die! His abilities are pretty good. Like the stealing and stuff. My problem is I'm always out of space in the inventory. Best movie ever? No, not stealing. What else does he do? Because I was looking for like more offensive stuff. I didn't see anything. Let me check again. This one you probably unlocked? Okay. That's good to know. You get to turn one character into an absolute unit. What do you mean? Oh, like does he buff somebody? He buffs somebody? Nice. Kind of like how Steiner
All
gets
right,
his
we won.
sword magic in Final Fantasy 9. As you probably know, you don't get too much time to get it. Oh, I'm pretty sure, like a turn or two. Oh, I know what you mean, because, yeah, Guido's only temporary here. Yeah, I feel it. Where are we going? What is this? Okay. We're going to 1. I was a little disoriented. Are you still playing your Baby Stonks game, Cyber? Yeah, let's see what abilities Guido has. But first... You know it. Should be using magic, yeah. Oh, I ain't got fucking shit. That's what some motherfuckers just snooze, yeah.
Now you'll be okay.
I had one die at 7 years. Like, you killed a 7-year-old in space? Nice.
Take that!
The smallest things give me a great cock stand, a whorish movement of your mouth, a little brown stain on the seat of your white drawers, a sudden dirty word sputtered out by your wet lips, a sudden immodest noise made by you behind, and then a bad smell slowly curling up out of your backside. At such moments I feel mad to do it in some filthy way, to feel your hot lecherous lips sucking away at me, to fuck between your two rosy tipped bubbies, to come on your face and squirt it over you.
Damn. Nah, he died and lost hella stonks. Oh, dang. Sorry to hear that. I can totally see why you like that game, though. No, don't paralyze me. Very nice. I forgot what to say.
All right, we won.
I saw Slither again today. Maybe holds up. If you guys have seen it, I know Jay has. I know Cyber has because he has good taste. He's seen every horror movie known to man. Good movie. Ooh, piece of candy. Warp shoe. Warp shoe. Damn, really can't read. Okay, yes, this is what I need. Okay, there it is. I was right next to it, I didn't even know. Tight. Oh, yeah. Equip. Let me see what these do. Probably you. True. Oh, it's less for everybody. Oh, fuck. Plus 30 move with wing, 35. Oh, that's what it is. Oh, let me do that. Yeah, maybe not. I mean, it's not like I really have issues with catching enemies before I get winded or anything. I just saved. Alright. This is where I already was, wasn't it? Yep, 4. Okay, I go this way then. I just don't want to like miss any areas. Which I will, you know, it's fine. All my items. Hell yeah. Who had it? Okay. Ooh. Maybe for all levels. For sure Fina. Fina's like my main mage. All seed. I kind of like Justin being like a little powerhouse. Agility, strength, vitality. Maybe Rap. I think Rap's permanent. Pretty sure Rap stays. But Rap actually likes his special abilities more than his magic abilities. So I'll just give it to little Justin. Any more seeds? Or nuts? No. What the fuck? It was like a gnat. did that say? 2? Okay. I wish you give me a bit more of a heads up when I enter new areas. I think it was a miss. Yeah, mask.
We won! We won!
Yeah, I would like to at least finish this dungeon. Ah, wait, no, damn it. Wait, Underground 1 ruins? Wait, I'm so fucking confused. This is 2, okay. It's pointing for me to go this way, which I tried doing. But it's a little bit goddamn map. No, I don't want to resort to it every time. Alright, let's go this way. And then, yeah, because I think I backtracked. Or no. Wait, is this level looping in on itself? I think it is. Die! What's that gonna sound like?
Colon A
No, I don't want to get too crazy, but what about C? God, it's so long. How many A's is that? Somebody count it. See these nuts? Yeah, I was gonna do that, but I was like, it's back to before you go too far, maybe I do gotta go this way. Because that doesn't look familiar. Oh my god. That's a lot of A's. Or
B.
I thought you broke it for a second. I was like, what? Thank you. Hard R. No, please don't. I will probably unmod you guys if you do that. Put you in timeout, mister. Where the fuck am I going? Hold on. And you know what? Fuck it. I'm looking it up. I have no idea where the fuck I am. Oh, yeah, right.
Don't you just hate it when your cat wakes you up like this? Meow. 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 Meow.
It's actually hard to talk
about. Meow. 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 Meow.
Mods I can keep doing
Meow.
control. How do you make
Meow.
an elite mod?
Meow. Meow. Meow.
I
Meow.
don't know. You've been trolling a bit too. Hold on, let me go with this fucking map real quick. I would never troll. That's exactly what a troll would say. What the fuck was this? Oh, that's just my chat being chat. What up, DJ? How you feeling? I gotta look up. Okay. Alright, where the fuck am I? I just finished Beast Games Season 2. What's Beast Games? Alright, so this is 1. Underground Ruins 1. Holy shit, this is confusing. Dude, it does loop around. It's like a grid of like different maps, and rather than going like linearly, it's like spiraling. Mr. Beast show on Prime. Is it good? Did you like it? I didn't really watch Mr. Beast. I've never seen it. Does this look right? No. What the fuck? Okay, there's the Vantage. That might help orient me. Is that not south? Oh, it's not. Bro, over 200 people competed for $5 million. Who won? I'm sure somebody won, right? Okay, the map was upside down. It's like the fucking cartoons when they're like on the road trip. They have to... Oh, shit. I think I'm... Oh, that's where I am. Okay, okay. Okay, I know where I'm going now. Dude, that was super confusing. Imagine 200 people crying all the time because there can be only one person that wins, and they're like, I don't want to eliminate my friend that I just met. Oh, no, dude, no alliances. We can be friends after it, but... During it, you're my fucking enemy. There's 2. Okay, yeah. I know where I'm going.
Do 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 bob bob goo 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 da da bob bob goo 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 do do bob bob goo 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 da da bob bob goo 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 da da bob bob goo 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 da da bob bob goo goo goo.
Was that Little Richard? Okay, fair point, but they were together for 41 days and shit happens on the wall. They fuck. Did they kill somebody? That'd be kind of cool. Like, make it like the actual... I imagine Squid Games. Like, in my mind's eye, I picture it just being Squid Games.
Scott Bandit Body Body Believable I Dabble 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 Bob Bella Bob Bella Bob Bella 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 Do Believe You I the Scatman Ski by Dibby Dibby Yoda Dub Dub Yoda Dub Dub Ski by Dibby Dibby Yoda Dub Dub Yoda Dub Dub I am the Scatman Ski by Dibby Dibby Yoda Dub Dub Yoda Dub Dub Ski by Dibby Dibby Yoda Dub Dub Yoda Dub Dub Body Body Bobby Bob Bob Body Bopey Bob Bob Body Bopey Bob Bob Body Bopey Bob Bob Body 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 Bobby Bob Bob Body Bopey Bob Bob Body Bopey Bob Bob Body Bopey.
That's better. Oh, it's French. Wow, that's funny. I'm gonna be honest, I love everybody as fuck until I gotta get grimy. Yeah, I mean, it's nice to have alliances, right? But everybody knows deep down it's gonna come to that point where it's like, alright, it's just down to us. But I imagine it being like the Joker, where everybody kind of just kills each other off, like sequentially, in the beginning of Dark Knight. Alright, crackle. Yeah, let me just...
Oh, power of ice!
Chat Joey wants to help me raise money so I can play Wii 9 alongside of it. What should we both do in order to raise the funds?
OnlyFans. Oh, dude, nice. I was. A job. You said you're streaming tomorrow, right? When are you be streaming again? I forgot if you said it.
We won! We won!
Joey, want to do a job? Since I can't physically move, I can be the intel guy. Live with the guy in the chair. Oh, yeah! It'll be like what I imagine ICE and GTA Online being like. Wait, did I get ambushed? I wasn't paying attention. No, I did get ambushed. What the fuck? Side throw. Get him! I can be Oracle if I'm not getting fucked by Robin. I hated that they made Batman fuck Batgirl in that one movie.
There's no use in hiding.
It just felt wrong, you know? Batman shouldn't do that. Fuck your sidekicks.
Not bad, eh?
Alright, there we go. Oh yeah, what did you say you're gonna stream tomorrow? Yeah, cause why fuck the commissioner's daughter and your adopted son's pregnancy scare? Yeah, I forgot. Is it another RPG? Yeah, I'm gonna go live tomorrow, hopefully. Well, it's good that you're feeling well enough to do that. They've been on the mend for a while. Oh, nice. Actually, that's pretty good. So
help that dad, I'm stuck in the bat dryer.
Good! Take this!
Bat dryer. When I hear Bat Dad, I think of South Park. The fact that my balls can't be squished in the armchair I sit in. It sucks that they're still like that. So are the meds still doing their thing, or do you have to get like that procedure done too?
Not bad, eh?
Bro, I'm on week 3 of meds. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how long they take to work. But I hope soon. Oh, I see life. Let me snuff it out right now. Die! They're not as giant anymore, but they sure went down, lol. They're not as giant anymore, but they sure went down. Well, I hope they go back to normal.
There's no use in hiding.
No, I'm gonna have a wait, what? My piss streak. Hold on. My longest piss streak is 9 times in one day. Damn, that's pretty long. Also, I think these are just too loud. Sorry. I'm adjusting my audio on the fly over here. And I'm really regretting that rip on the Benjamin first stream. Can't handle my shit. Do you really think Master Splinter cracked April O'Neil?
Do you really think Master Splinter cracked April O'Neil?
I do not. My poor innocent childhood Joey would not want that. Okay, alright, cool, I'll go through here. Joey, this is God speaking, you're too high, you need to wake up.
This is God speaking. You're too high. You need to wake up.
do. I am admittedly tired. I'm off to bed, baby. All right, man. Keep the bed warm. I'll be right there. Thanks for hopping by. I just do. Dude, I'm off to FAP. All right, man. Be right there. Okay, I'm back. Oh, okay. Just a quick one. Was it because of my stream? I wouldn't blame you.
Ha! Take that, I'll kill ya!
I really am glad I have this map up, though. I'm not even ashamed.
Not bad, eh?
So good. I was hoping this would be like the one stream of this game where I don't talk about 2, but it's bound to happen. Oh. Message. Grandia Extreme is the best one. I don't think it's bad. It's more dungeon crawlery, and it kind of runs on. Like that game kind of overstays its welcome, but it's more Grandia combat, Grandia 2 combat. Actually, I think it's a little bit harder than Grandia 2. Yeah. I haven't even finished it yet. Sylveon escaped. Also, there's a shit ton of characters. Like, you know, like in this one, they kind of rotate out a little bit, like the roster updates and changes. In Extreme, there's just a shitload of them, and you get to like pick the 4 that go with you. So it's like you have to do the swapping yourself. I honestly don't want to play it. I'm probably gonna skip it. If I ever, assuming I even get to 3. Like I said, this is really just so I can play 2. I don't think I'm gonna do the whole franchise or anything. Stop and swap. Yeah. Oh, cool. This is not a map. Whatever. Oh, okay, cool. Oh, wow. All right, and then yeah. And then yeah. And then now what? Oh shit, where am I going? Where are you taking me? You coming this way? No? Not you, because ah, okay, that was close. All right. Tight. Dude, this is so stupid, but like I changed my sheets earlier. I'm kind of excited to go to bed, man. Nothing beats like that fresh sheet sleep, you know? Oh fuck, I almost fell. He almost got me. Timing thing. I should change my sheets. They're kind of crusty. From all the semen I made. Oh, I figured. I'm assuming it's your semen? Wait, I don't think I was supposed to do that. Some of it. Yeah. Some of it's mine. I don't think it. Hold on. Actually. Go. it even reach? It does. Okay. Ah! Ah! Okay. Where am I going? You know what? I'm okay with it. Just want to get out of here. I'm glad you're liking Vanquish. Game's awesome. You said you tried it before, it just didn't click or something like that? And now you're giving it a chance? Let's do the bomb. Always hits one enemy. Oh, because I need a... Wait, why can't I do it though? I'm confused. I have the SP for it. I have a dagger equipped. What do you want? Well, let's just try doing something.
Good. Take this.
That's what it sounds like. That's not what I pictured. Yeah.
There's no use in hiding.
Yeah.
Blaze brightly, O flame.
Let's upgrade V-Slash. I haven't really been using that.
V-Slash.
Damn.
All right, we won.
This way. Yeah. No. Oh yeah. This is one, which me. Oh. Oh, okay, and then yeah, there's that. Okay, I'm almost out of here. Yeah, the dungeons in 2 are less segmented like this. Like rather than having like 3 or 4 or 5 different like parts of the dungeon, there's like 2 tops. Yeah, just no, V-Slash it. I gotta save some for the boss, but then again, I have Guido to charge my SP if I need. Make that right, Guido. Oh, I was trying to do yours. That's funny.
V-Slash.
Blaze brightly, O flame.
Die! It's blowing up right now.
100 million degrees.
It Kyle and me. Lemon still alive? He is. He's playing his little racy game.
Back with reinforcements.
Yeah. What? Oh, okay. What the fuck am I looking at? I can't rotate. Oh, shit. There's a big person over there. And it won't let me move the camera. Alright, you look terrifying. Let's go. Slash. Oh shit, that's right. Oh shit, he's got
Blaze brightly, oh flame.
It looks like that one boss reminds me of that one boss from Devil May Cry 3. And those giant statues from Gantz, whatever you want to call it. Yeah.
There's no use in
That
hiding.
wasn't a lot of damage. Yeah, steal some shit. Let's try that.
Aha! There! Ta-da!
Anything in chat? Wait, what? Okay, I thought my internet cut out again. Because that's been happening. It's pissing me off. Alright, we're good. Am I good? Yeah, I'm good. Oh, actually, I'm not. My chest's updating over here. That's annoying. What the fuck? Ah, whatever. I can read it over here if I look at my stream. V slash. I think.
Blaze brightly, oh flame.
I like that emoji. It's cyanide happiness, I think.
There's no use in hiding.
I almost want to move that window over here so I can read chat easier. I might. We'll see. Tests. It's working. I hope I get messages though. Oh yeah, V slash. You. Oh, don't I have, I do. Fuck yeah. Is it one enemy or range? Okay, good, good, good.
V-slash!
Oh, I'm out? Okay. They just burn flame. Test failed. There it is. I appreciate that. That was actually really helpful. My chat for my OBS and Mix It Up got disconnected somehow. So over here, I actually didn't see that emoji message that you sent over the dude humping. But I saw it over here and where I monitor my stream. Oh shit!
Guts!
How much? It's probably just one. Yeah, I think so. Okay. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Cut it out. Alright, bitch, heal us.
Now you'll be okay.
Will we? We'll probably be fine. Oh shit. Okay, we're getting stun locked here. No! No! Ah! Oh wait, they also have items that should help too. Oh my god, okay. The interrupt your attack, hopefully. Let me just check my items. Oh, I might be able to, but let me check. Yeah. I have Oh. Okay, he doesn't have it. I'm gonna have to do this. I think this will work. Interrupt it. Interrupt it. Interrupt it. Interrupt it. Fuck!
Face slash.
I'm still only 16. That wasn't that bad. But everybody is fairly low, so you know. What's gonna happen is, do you have it? No. Shit.
Good. Take this.
Did it work? Probably not. Maybe. Maybe it did. Yes. Stuff for like all. Yeah. Don't we have? I thought I had items that would heal like everybody. There's SP. That's nice. MP. But it's not good enough. Alright, I'm just gonna attack that and then hopefully slow it down enough to where she can do some more heal.
You're not gonna get away from this. Ha!
Ah! Okay. Then she have it? Full potion. Yeah. Oh, it's only 50. Oh, I thought it'd be more than that. Yeah, I mean, just against. Oh shit! Don't cancel! Don't cancel! Don't cancel! Don't cancel! Don't cancel! I said don't cancel, you dumb bitch. Well, let me just check again, and then in any case, I'm gonna kill her. She's my MVP. He's also like the closest to death. I don't care about rap. Ah, I think that might have done it.
I've been a hit.
A revival stone. Oh, I didn't even know we had that. Cool. What about you?
I'll remember this.
Are you even hit with the revival stone? Oh no. Oh lordy lordy. Oh dang, this might be my first game over. Alright, let's fix this. Get stat checked. What does that mean? I also said earlier, I'm a little high, so I'm not on my best. I'm gonna do my A game here. Oh, that was what I was looking for too. That's funny. It's okay, I'm gonna die right now, but I'll do it again.
Face slash.
This boss is one of those bosses in the game that have a big difficulty spike relative to the rest of the game. Yeah, I wasn't really ready for this. I mean, I was prepped, not ready, if that makes sense. Like, I have the tools. I just thought it'd be easy, and now I'm like having to think. I'm just gonna throw the fight. Or get up. Get up. I forget, did they come up for full health? Probably not. Yes, kinda. Okay, we're fine.
Oh!
Justin! Oh yeah, revival stone. Cool. Yeah, this is by far the hardest boss so far. I would predict Spike too. I imagine it being like spiky and barbed, like some what do they call them? The imp from Persona? My dick. I had a feeling that's what you're talking about. Called a hunch. It's okay. Items are meant to be used. Shit. Fucking stop it. They're killing me. Alright, where's that item? 1 turn to heal 75. Yeah, it wasn't great, but his magic isn't. He doesn't have any. It's okay. Like I said, I'm probably gonna die in this one. I personally don't care. I'll get it. I'll get it. Oh, I'll heal for sure. And then we'll resurrect this dude at some point.
Okay?
Yeah. I need like super duper all heal. What's that one called? Interrupted. Wait, do any of these moves actually cancel? It's critical, right?
Ha! Slice in two!
No. Oh shit. Defend is a bit hard to cancel. Is that what it was? Maybe I wasn't paying attention. Oh, action defend. Yeah, you're right.
Take this!
I'd be so lost without you, Penguin. Just when it comes to like the guts of the game, you know what I mean? Like the deep mechanics. I got through this game for the first time like years ago. More or less just mashing A, you know what I mean? You were attacking him and he was visibly in defense. It's fair. I'm done. Let's resurrect my boy. Welcome to the party, pal. How's your night going, Penguin? Playing anything cool? Watching anything? Might be worth it to... Yeah, that's me right now. What up, your boy? I'll just stay on the offense. I'm okay for now. I'm okay, Dad. I feel like fire's working. And he's getting there. He's getting there. Hopefully his boomerangs fucking die. Might play some Warframe. Oh, you play Warframe?
Teach you.
I had a roommate that was like obsessed with that game. It does look cool. I wanted to play that 19 whatever DLC. And then correct me if I'm wrong, but is that the DLC, like, is it explicitly tied to Dark Sector now? Or Dark Sector? That's what that game's called, right? Dark Sector. Or is it just like alluded to? Yeah. What DLC? There's like DLC, it's like 1990 something. Warframe DLC, or it's like a spin-off? 1999? Is that what it is? It's a new quest line added to the main game. Okay. 1999, I guess is what it's called. But yeah, I remember watching the trailer for that, and it actually got me interested. I was like, that looks not bad. Oh, fuck. Oh. Alright. I may have fucked that up, but it's okay. Because I have sword. Die! I didn't do shit. Where you going? Where you going, String Bean? And then, yeah. Oh, wait. Yeah. Sorry. It doesn't look like DLC at any rate. Yeah, I looked it up. It says it's a quest line that they added to the main game. Alright, so for wrap, I want you to use this item. Or the MP one. 5 ain't enough. I'll just use the ultimate drink for SP abilities.
There we go.
I like that sound. Good sound. There's a lot of these type of games. Like Warframe? I guess people who enjoy Warframe favor, they might enjoy it.
Might hurt a little. A 1, a 2.
I guess for people who enjoy Warframe, they might enjoy it. Nah, the co-op horde level killer. Oh, I haven't heard of that one. That's cool. They have a horde mode in Warframe? Warframe is a bit different. Is a bit of its own entity. Oh, sorry, we're talking about 9099, huh? This one. It's kind of working. It's got 1,000 left.
Blaze brightly, oh flame.
Or are you talking about a different game? I'm sorry. No, the co-op level horde killer. Warframe 99 looks like Dark Tide. Why does that sound familiar? What's Dark Tide? Oh, Warhammer. Oh, silly. Seeing it in 2 words threw me off. My bad. Joe. Kind of retarded. Alright, let's go. Let's try Shockwave. I like Shockwave.
Here goes.
Nice. And do I have enough? No. I do have item. That might have been a waste. But it's okay, we'll live. He won't die! Focus fire! Deep blue potion. Whoa. Okay. Shit. Okay, missile. Okay, that's good actually. And it's max because I need something instantly. Get him!
You're not gonna get away from this. Ha!
Motherfucker! No, he's still alive. Stop being alive. Why are you alive for? Damn, I did waste it. That's fine.
Blaze brightly, oh flame.
But yeah, I don't know. I thought 1999 looked cool from that one trailer I saw like a year or 2 ago. I forget when that dropped. It looked interesting. I win. Dude, I thought I was gonna like get a game over. It actually felt good to have to use my items rather than just treat them like junk because I never used them and I always needed space. Oh, it actually is gonna be embedded into the game. Yeah, that's what. Oh, it's not out yet. I thought it was out. I'm behind on the Warframe news. Oh, dude, wait. I thought that was out. Upcoming? Yeah, I'm hella behind on it. I never played it for myself. But like I said, I had a roommate that really fucking loved Warframe. Like when we were playing Destiny, he was playing Warframe. He said it was better, which probably might be. Oh. Strength Seed. Yeah, let's give it to Justin. Destiny isn't standing the test of time. This is true. Good point. Destiny also isn't free. I don't think. Actually, wait, didn't Destiny go free to play? Except for like expansions or something. But in any case, points, Warframe. Joy, when are you gonna run some squads, Predator hunting grounds with me? That's a good question. Monday, I was actually AFK. I wasn't even home. I had to help a friend out with mounting a projector. And then we ended up getting drunk and watching Deadpool 3 with the homies. That was fun. But yeah, sorry I missed Monday. I don't know. When the stars align, to be honest. This is the Medal of Knowledge, Justin. You know what to do, Rico! We did. You got the Medal of Knowledge. Okay, everybody, next stop, Alent. Right on, brother. Damn it, game. Can you just teleport me out of the dungeon? Oh wait, no, this is kind of good actually, because then I can get all the items I missed. Let me just fall down here. Will it let me? Can I just jump? No. I want to miss my ride. Thing coming? Or do I have to go back in there? I wish I could like Metal Gear Solid just go first person. Oh, I actually pressed that button. It did look like there might have been buttons or another path. Let me check. Maybe I'm not done in there. There's no, yeah, there's no cave. There's more. Let's see. No, can I go through here? No. Fuck. What? Okay. All right. I guess I'm just being impatient. I have to wait for that platform to come back. Or let me make sure. Bro, watching this game is so trippy, high as hell on Ambien. What up, Chaos Gremlin? What's Ambien? Is it like a pain meds? Sedative, used to treat insomnia. Oh shit. Sleeping pill. Okay. Dang. Can I have one? I usually have trouble going to bed too. Let me borrow one. I'll give it back. I'm on the max dose, lol. Yeah, dude, I feel it. Sometimes I feel like it'll take a tranquilizer to get me to go to bed, but I've been working on it. I'm trying. Agile. Oh, fuck. Sorry to hear that. Alright, let me get the fuck out of here. Oh, is this a... Moves around, right? Assuming it does. Oh, wait, what? Oh, shit. Here's more. Oh, wait. Silly. I thought... Yeah. I thought where I'm at now was the area I was, you know, I thought I was waiting for this. Oh, shit. Something's wrong. The last time we passed here, I'm sure the floor was moving. It was. Justin, look! Mullen, how long must I wait? Have you not found it yet? I made all possible efforts, General, but we still have not found any trace. The shrine's door was open. That means that the chosen one is here. Wherever the chosen one is, that's where we'll find the spirit stone will be. That's where the spirit stone will be. You know that as well as I do. Lean, come with me. Alright, we can't quote him anymore. With your permission, General Ball, let me point out that Lieutenant Lean is serving as my vital aide de camp. I gotta go to bed. Bye! Peace out, dude. Later. Without her, the search may be delayed. Mullen, sometimes I wonder if you really want to find the Spirit Stone. What? How can you say that, General? The Spirit Stone is essential to the Operation Yggdrasil. I'm fully aware of the importance of my mission. Good. Then continue your search. You won't have any objection to Lean's assistance, will you? Assistance. Continue your search for the Spirit Stone. Lean, we depart. Yes, sir, General Ball. Alright, we can do the boss fight or something. There's no time left! In honor of the Mullen Division is at stake. Go! Find the Spirit Stone. I must find the Spirit Stone before my father does. I must. He sounds like Vegeta when he's trying to go Super Saiyan. He's like, I want it, I want it, I want it! Are those losers still searching for the Spirit Stone? That man, wasn't he at the Tower of Doom, too? Oh, what is he going to do with Lean? Let's not get caught, eh? I think we should find another way around. Let me fall down here. Oh? Oh? fuck out of here. Okay. Let me save too. And then, let me get out of here first, but I kind of gotta go soon. Oh, also, they asked what I've been on. I said, Trazodone and Seroquel, and they didn't do shit. So they're like, bet, understood. Elephant Dart, do not pass go, do not collect 200, go straight to fuck to sleep. How long does it take for you to do that? And how long have you been on that, if you don't mind me asking? A genuine curiosity. What the fuck? Do I have to like try leaving? Guess we go back this way. Not make sense. Oh. God damn it. Hey, do you guys think we can go down here? I zigzagged. First pill today and nothing, honestly, just feel smoked. Like I smoked some weed. That's about it. Are you like chillaxing? Like are you just like laying down and like I'm on your phone? Or are you like fully like at your desk or your TV watching this? Hey guys, I think we can go down from here. Okay, I'll go first. Be careful, everybody. Okay, let's go. Sick. Round 3. Damn, this place won't end. Hunched over a desk, you should see my face. You would think I had been smoking. He's just like, eyes probably all bloodshot and shit. I don't like the look of those. I feel like some great force is looking this way. Is it just my imagination? It's maybe no, your imagination, Bella. Look on those doors. They are said to be in this shrine. They start to move, even the Garloff forces are going to be history. Start to move, but they're just pictures. Right now, pictures. They have been sealed until the time comes. But hey, I only tell you what the legends say. Everyone, don't you think we had better get going? The Garloff forces are behind us. I'll have to take a second pill since first one isn't knocking me out. Curiosity. Can you OD on those? Is the second pill okay? And besides, I don't like it here. Or maybe I'm just being overcautious or something. I don't know. I don't know if like, oh no, it's prescription. You can take up to Silly Guido. Pictures don't come to life. I know. I tried so hard.
Silly Guido. Pictures don't come to life. I would know. I tried so hard.
Same. You can OD on them, but the second pill isn't going to do it. Okay. Okay, good. Safe, buddy. Don't move! I have to take a whole bottle or two for that to happen. Okay, okay. Well, I hope they do their job and you're able to get some sleep. My thing, I don't know. It's like, I think it started with me just being stubborn, like, because I work a lot and I don't like going to bed, you know, because I'm like, well, it's my free time. And I don't have a lot of that. So I would just stay up. And then now it's like, I'm kind of used to that. Like, I feel perpetually jet lagged. Like, I'm fucking dying by noon.
With nothing blocking their field of view, they didn't see any of this ambush.
Oh, right? Right? It's like a flat, like, there's no elevation to hide behind. But yeah, I feel like I'm always jet lagged somehow, but I'm trying to work on it. Like, I keep telling myself, if I'm at least just in bed by 1 a.m., like, it's gonna be better. Because I can get, like, about 6 hours of sleep now, rather than, like, the 4, or, you know, in some cases 3.5 I get during the week because I'm stupid. Don't move, Justin. Mullen! End of your spirit stone, or I'll have to put you in timeout. What a pain you guys are! What is it with the spirit stone anyway? It's for your own good. You don't know the danger you're really in. I'll ask you one more time. Give me the spirit stone, Justin. Supposedly these are supposed to make sure you have 8 hours before you can do anything. You do anything because it's supposed to knock you out and keep you out. Poof, not me. You just burn through it like fucking like Wolverine. You're the last person I'll give it to. You leave me no choice. If you won't give it willingly, I'll have to take it by force. So come and get it. Wait, stop it, both of you. Why do you have to fight? Can we work things out somehow? Athena, work things out? He's trying to take the Spirit Stone. But Master, she ran off. But have a good stream. See, I'm gonna lay some days gone. Oh, good game. While waiting for the hammer to drop. LOL. Well, peace out, man. Thank you for hanging out. I hope you have managed to get some good, meaningful rest, a full 8 hours, and you wake up feeling like a fucking superhero. What? The ground. It can't be. No, he can't. If he uses them, how many soldiers will die? Father, have you lost your senses? Now what's happening? He said, fuck it. Steady. Steady, lean. The seal over the golems is just about to break. Next, we'll deal with the Chosen One. Chosen One! And finally obtain the Spirit Stone. Ha 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 ha! Oh. Colonel Mullen. I don't have to get too excited. Mullen? He's pathetic, like his mother. He'd have lived... What? He'd have lived if he hadn't stuck his nose into searching for the Spirit Stone. But I'm afraid he's no longer useful. The shrine will be his grave. What? No. Colonel Mullen. You mean to disobey me? How interesting. And futile! Just fucking shoot her. Ah! Mullen! Nicky! Oh, this is the part! Yeah, he is live. Cool. I'm gonna read how soon, but I gotta save. When you're reading the audiobook. Wait, what? What audiobook? Oh, is this a reference to Jay? And he thinks reading a book is the same thing as listening to it? Hurry, retreat. Look out, Justin, it's crumbling. Look out! Ah! Mullet! Fina, this way. Now, Fina, now, come here. But what about Mullen? We can't do anything. Move it, Fina! Fina, you must come now. Yes. No, you being an audiobook narrator. Hold on, I gotta read this. Oh, never, because I can't read. It's dangerous here, too. We better move it. Damn it, all these sexy items I'm missing. Can I get down there? Get these. Am I timed? If I get the game over, I'm gonna rage quit. I'll just jump straight to 2, I swear. Wait, am I on... Where am I at? I'm in the ruins, right? Let's see if I can pick all these up. I want them. Oh, I can! Hell yeah! Right on, brother! Yeah, look like they're skedaddling. Yeah, they do. They're like fucking booking it, dog. Yeah, skedaddle the fuck out of here!
Blaze brightly, O flame!
I don't think there's another boss coming up. I hope not. I should be using these because it's what makes explosion? Is it fire and wind? You too, Fina. You crackle.
Take this.
What are you up to, you boy? You're not working, are you?
See my power!
Oh dang, it looked like oh. For some reason I thought Guido was like a drop, like a big ass weapon. Though he was kind of behind that sprite. I was like, oh dang, look at that, but I was like, it's just his fucking weird. It looked special.
Not bad, eh?
Oh. And I am actually tired, which is good. This is good because usually I don't get tired till like 4 or 5, right? Now I'm tired at a reasonable hour. It's like Gray Fox. Is it hurt mistake? Make me feel alive. That's how I feel. I'm like, I'm getting tired early. Oh, I shouldn't have done that. It's like muscle memory now. I was supposed to be kind of grinding my way out. Taking advantage of enemies. Thank you. Whoever does it first, that's fine.
See my power!
Chances are this won't kill him. It might not be enough.
What a cinch!
I don't like Guido. Get out of here. Get out of my party. You don't synergize well with my playstyle. Oh, and then you, yeah. Crackle.
Oh, power of ice!
Actually, in hindsight, I probably should have targeted the stronger enemy over there, but this is decent. Yeah, this guy. Let's just target him. Even though...
Blow you away.
We'll see.
Take that.
Because I think the range increases as these level up too, and I wasn't sure if it would hit everyone. Alright. Do fucking shit.
Blow, storm, blow!
Yeah, just hit him. And then Rapple in this.
Oh, power of ice!
Oh, wow. Did more than I expected. She's about to deport those skeleton demons using ice. Nice. Oh, now I'm just mashing A. I don't even know what I picked up. Okay. Dang, I really passed that. Maybe I actually do have to stay here, but let me see. I might have to backtrack again, sorry. I don't think there was more. Okay. Alright, yeah, go this way. Actually, let me start using these. Item. Defense seed, probably you. Run. Agility. You can get this one too, Rap. Power. My wristbands came in the mail today, and I got my days off approved to go to Reggae Rise Up on the 12th next month to see Cypress Hill, Pepper, and Slightly Stupid. Oh, that's awesome, dude. On the 12th of next month? What does that fall on? Is it like a Friday? Hell yeah, dude. Oh wait, it's this way, I think. You're gonna curve? The fuck out of here! Okay, this is the other side. Is this where it came from? That's where I'm going? Yeah. Damn it, Joey. Thursday? Okay, okay. Nice. I'm approved for Friday. I can't fucking wait. Wait, no. Hold on. Sorry, I got disoriented. I kind of forgot like which way it initially came from. Hold on, where's that fucking map? Where am I? I'm in ruins now? On ruins. Oh, that's right, because it loops still. Let me look at this and try to find where I'm at in the map. I think I'm right here. Yeah. Ruins B1. How do I get down though? And over? I know where I'm at, I just don't know how to get off of it. I go this way. Little, like... way. There's no more stairs, though. Like, there was those other ones, but it doesn't, like... It doesn't create, like, a overpass. Like, I can't go under that. Oh. I think I do have to go this way and then go left. Or... Oh, wait. I do know. I know what to do. I know what to do. Kind of. Yeah. I have to find a way to get north. Like, how do I get the fuck off of this thing? Oh, I know how. Not that way. I thought this was gonna take me back to the other side. I actually do have to go this way. I go like northy. Yep. Damn it. What is this? There is a golem. Ooh. It isn't moving anymore. Run by. We can make it. We can make it! Oh my god! Wait, Justin, wait! What is it, Fina? You can sprout rings too? Oh shit. Wah! Oh shit, they're dead! No! Rat Guido!
Ah!
Oh, now you wanna...
What's wrong?
talk.
Fina! Fina! Just
Never make it.
my body!
Never make it.
So
Can't you
hot!
see?
Can't take
You'll never
it!
make
My
it.
body! It's burning!
You should be able to beat them
Fina!
down!
Oh no! Fina! My sister! What?
Me sister.
Lean!
Does she have links too? I forget. She going fucking Sailor Moon?
What is this?
Oh.
This feeling. It feels like some enormous power is beginning to move. That can't be. Nothing can resist the power of the Ikarians. Unless there were one more Ikarian.
Yep.
Fina!
I mean, it does make sense. They're sisters. So. Oh, cutscene! Nice. Can I save yet? Bina! Rap! Bina! Where are you? Dead. They died, Justin. They're never coming back. Cool. There's a lot of items here. Nice. It's just me. I use inventory. Red inventory. What do we got in here? I'll get rid of a just 5 MP. That's not a lot. Let me get rid of a miracle. Yeah. Alright, no more. 444. Yeah. Oh wait, what's in here? Oh, let me. Oh, in the stash. Sick. Okay. I don't think it has to be in my inventory, which is nice. Survival. Warp shoe. Yeah, nobody's using that. Alright, we should be good. We get this. Nice. Use that. Then we're gonna save. Well, hold on. Wait. Let me recover. Then save. And then you guys aren't gonna believe this. You guys are just not gonna. You'll never see this coming right now. I have to find somebody to read out to. Because I gotta go to bed. The fuck is Lemon still streaming? Oh, we're gonna raid Lemon. We haven't raided Lemon in a long time. Let's do that. All right, everybody, thank you for hanging out. I'll get through this game eventually. And oh, it doesn't work on sub. I keep forgetting. All right. Yeah, I hope you guys all have a good night. Thank you for kicking it. I'm also thirsty. Go. Oh, that's delicious. All right, bye.